Good morning class, Sai Ram. Today we are going to start our next chapter, that is motion in a straight line. In this chapter basically we have to cover following topics, that is position, path length, displacement, then average velocity and average speed. Then we have next topic, instantaneous velocity and speed, then acceleration, and along with this we will understand graph portion also, and then kinematic equations we have, okay, then relative theory, and at last we have exercise. So now we will start with introduction. So in introduction, basically it is saying that how to define motion. Okay, so motion is what? Whenever we walk, run or ride a bicycle, that is called motion. Means changing in position of any object is called motion. And whenever we talk about motion, we have to understand these terms, that is called path length, displacement and position. So try to understand what is the position basically. To define position of any object, we need basically a reference point, that is called our origin. Suppose if your any particular place is located over here, suppose your school is here, okay, and this one is your home, then you call it your home as a reference frame. Means whenever someone asks you how much far is your school from your home, then you answer, suppose it is 5 kilometers from your home. Okay, so for that you have to fix a reference point. For example, your home is considered to be origin or reference point, and from that origin only we will measure all the distances. So this is called reference point. And when we include the coordinate system along with the time, then it is called frame of reference. With the help of example, we will try to understand all these terms. But for now, we have to understand some basic terminologies like path length. What is the path length? Path length is nothing but it is the distance covered. Okay, suppose any particle is moving, or suppose any car is moving from this point O to Q, then P. Suppose here you have your car at O. Then O is your origin point or reference point. Its coordinate is denoted by 0. And then this car is moving along this path. Then from this 0 to next 40 meter, this car is moving like this way. Then it will go up to 80 meter. Okay. Now suppose if this is given that your car moves from O to Q. Suppose your car is moving from O to Q. Then if I ask you how much is the distance traveled by the car, then you will say it is 240 meter. So this is called path length of the car. Now suppose one more activity we have. Suppose your car is moving from O to P. Then it is moving from P to Q. Then if I ask you that how much is the path length or how much is the distance covered by the car when it goes from O to P, then P to Q, then you know that O to P distance is 360 meter. Okay, and P to Q, remember each gap is 40 meter, like 320 and 360, each gap is 40 meter or interval is 40 meter. So this 40 plus 40 plus 40, total will be 120. So you will say that from P to Q, your distance is 120 meter, and from O to P, your distance is 360 meter. So overall your distance is 480 meter. The same thing is explained in your book also. You can read all these things, like total distance is 480 meter if you move from O to P, then come back from P to Q. Basically with the help of this illustration, you should be able to distinguish between distance traveled by the particle, okay, or path length and displacement. The next topic we have to understand, that is displacement. And as you can see here, this is your next topic, displacement. So in the same number line we will try to understand what is the displacement. Suppose your vehicle goes from O to Q, then it goes from Q to P, then you take a U-turn and you come back from P to Q. So your initial position is this one, x1, and final position is this one, x2. However, your path length is 480 meter. But if I ask you what is your displacement, so remember displacement is nothing but difference of final position and initial position. So final position is 240 meter and initial position is 0. So your displacement is 240 meter from O to Q. However, the actual path length is more than this. So one thing is clear from here, that magnitude of distance may be equal or greater than displacement. Now in which case your distance will be equal to displacement? Suppose if your particle is moving on a straight line, okay, and it is not taking any turn, it is just moving in a straight path. Suppose your vehicle goes from O to Q, and then in this case we will say that distance traveled by the vehicle will be 240 meter and displacement will also be equal to 240 meter. Okay, now with the help of some illustration we will try to understand difference between distance and displacement. For example, here you can see that it is saying that a particle is moving in a circle. What is its displacement when it covers half the circle and second full the circle? So suppose your particle is moving on a circular path. So when your particle goes from A to B, means it covers only half circle, then what will be its displacement? You know that displacement is difference between initial and final position. So you can say your diameter or this length is diameter. This diameter is your displacement. Okay. But in the second part it is saying that when your particle covers whole circle, suppose from A it starts and it come back to its original position. In that case, how much is your displacement? Delta x. Then you will say it is x2 minus x1, that is x2 minus x1. So it will become equal to 0. Here also you can see in your NCERT book that it is mentioned that delta x or displacement is given by x2 minus x1, where x2 is your final position and x1 is your initial position. Okay, so I think this illustration is clear to you. Like one more illustration we have taken. In this illustration it is saying that a particle is moving from A to B on a circular path. Okay, it is moving from A to B on a circular path and this is the direction of its motion. So next line is radius of the circle is given 15 upon pi. Radius of the circle is 15 upon pi. So this much centimeter. Then it is saying that if the arc length AB to be 10 centimeter and you know arc length is this much, this length is basically 10 centimeter. This curved path is called arc and this is called your chord. So chord is not given, remember this arc length is given 10 centimeter. Then it is saying find the displacement. Okay, means you have to tell what will be the chord length. So you can pause the video and you can try this illustration by yourself for 1 minute. Then see here for solution. So here you can understand that in this illustration, this AB length is given. Okay, this chord length, this arc length is given, that is how much? 10 centimeter. Suppose this angle is theta, then in this case you can say that angle equal to arc upon radius. In last lecture I told you how to get this relation basically. So suppose this angle is theta, then you can say that theta will be equal to 10 centimeter divided by radius and that is 15 upon pi as it is given in the problem. So it will become 2 by 3 and 2 pi by 3. Remember from this formula our angle comes out to be in radian only, it is not in degree. And you know that by property of circle you have read in your 10th standard that whenever we drop a perpendicular here, this angle becomes equal, okay, and this chord get divided into two equal halves. So from here, if I drop a perpendicular like this one, okay, then this angle will be half of 2 pi by 3. 2 pi by 3 means basically 120 degree, that is 2 into 180 divided by 3, and if you will solve this, you will get 120 degree angle. From here you can see that this angle is 60 degree, and say this point is M. If I talk about triangle OMB, then in triangle OMB you can apply sine 60, and you know that sine 60 is basically, sine theta is basically perpendicular upon hypotenuse. So let me zoom it for you. In this case, this is your perpendicular and this is your hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is nothing but your radius, and perpendicular is, we have to calculate this perpendicular. Assume this perpendicular to be x. Then you know this will become equal to root 3 by 2 equal to x upon h, that is radius 15 upon pi. Or you can write it root 3 by 2 into 15 upon pi equal to x. So total chord length AB will be equal to 2 times of x. So it will be 2 times of root 3 by 2 into 15 upon pi. So this will be our answer, that 15 root 3 upon pi. Next, in your NCERT book, you can see here it is mentioned in black portion or in bold letter. It is given that the magnitude of displacement may or may not be equal to the path length traversed by the object. I have already given you illustration for this. Here basically we have to understand about graph portion. The first graph is given for stationary object. Stationary means the object which is at rest, that is called stationary object, or which is not moving. Suppose you can consider one illustration for this graph. Suppose your home is located somewhere, okay, and from your home your parking space is at a distance of 40 meter away, and at a distance of 40 meter away you have placed your car at this point, and say at t equal to something, you can say t equal to 0, or you can say at 12 o'clock. If we talk about daytime, at 12 o'clock your car is located over here, okay, and after t equal to 10 second, mean 12 o'clock and 10 second, your car is again placed over here only, because it is not moving, okay, because it is at rest basically. So you will say that at t equal to 10 second, on the x-axis we are representing our time. So at t equal to 10 second, position is 40 meter, and again after 10 second the car is on the same place, that is 40 meter. Again on at t equal to 30 second, or you can say after 10 second, the car is on the same place. So if you will join all these points, you will get your graph, and you will observe that your graph is a straight line like this one. So such graph are called xt graph, because we have x on y-axis and t on x-axis, so we call it xt curve, and this xt curve will be a straight line for stationary object. However, one more illustration, or you can say one more graph is given when your object is in uniform motion, means your motion of the car is your car is moving with a constant velocity. Suppose your car is moving with 10 meter per second, then such type of motion we call it uniform. In such motion, what we consider that suppose at t equal to 1 second, your car is at 10 meter. Okay, why it is at 10 meter? Because at t equal to 0, it is at origin, and after 1 second, it will be at a distance of 10 meter, because its velocity is basically 10 meter per second. Velocity itself tells you that in 1 second, the car will move by a 10 meter distance. So this will be your first point of graph. Then say at t equal to 2 seconds, your car is at 20 meter. So this will be your second point. Then at t equal to 3 seconds, your car will be at 30 meter. So this will be your next point. If you will join all the point, you will get your graph. Okay, so this is called xt graph again, but this is for uniform motion. Similarly, here we can understand position time graph of a car which is in non-uniform motion. Like here you can understand at t equal to 6 seconds, suppose position of the car is this much, say 25 meter, and say at t equal to 4 seconds, position is almost 0. So in these 2 seconds, you can understand that in these 2 seconds, your car is moving only 25 meter. Okay, but here, or your car has shifted by 25 meter. But here, if I ask you at t equal to 20, you will observe that your car is at a distance of 300 meter. Similarly, at t equal to 22, your car is again on the same place, that is 300 meter. Means from here to here your car is almost at rest because it is on the same place. So in these 2 seconds, displacement is 0, or distance traveled by the car is 0. But in these 2 seconds, your distance is 25 meter per second. So such type of motion in which speed is not constant, you call these non-uniform motion. Then we have a concept that is called average velocity and average speed. So remember, average velocity is what? Average velocity, remember, velocity is a vector quantity. You will learn it later in the next chapter, what is the difference between scalar and vector. But for now, try to understand velocity is given by displacement upon time. And you know displacement is calculated by x2 minus x1, or by taking difference of positions. And this is t2 minus t1 is basically time elapsed in that event. So velocity will be given by displacement upon time. Moreover, if we talk about you can say speed, then average speed or speed is given by, here you can understand that every speed is given by total distance traveled divided by time taken by an object. Like here you can see average speed formula is given, that total path length upon total time interval. So with the help of some illustration, we will try to understand difference between velocity and speed. Suppose in this problem it is saying that a ship moves from due east at 12 km per hour for 1 hour, and then it turns exactly towards south to move for an hour at a speed of 5 km per hour. Calculate average speed and average velocity for this given motion. Now first of all, we will try to plot diagram for this problem. Here you can understand that direction we have like east west and north south. But remember, the exact orientation for direction you will learn in your 12th standard, and that is the correct one also, that north is shown in this direction, south is in this direction, and this is east, and here we have west. But for our convenience, we just denote north in upward direction and south in downward direction. However, remember, this is the correct one, and this direction is called basically upward direction, and this direction is called your downward direction. Okay. So here it is saying that a ship moves due east at a 12 km per hour for 1 hour. Means from here, suppose this is your point number A, from here A to B, your ship is moving in this direction, that is towards east, and it is moving at a speed of 12 km per hour, and it is moving up to 1 hour. Means distance from A to B will be 12 km. You can understand it. Then it is saying that it exactly turns towards the south. Means from B it turns toward the south, and suppose it reached to a point C. Then it is saying that it moves with a speed of 5 km per hour. From here to here distance is 5 km because it is moving only up to 1 hour. Okay. Then from A to B time consumed is 1 hour, and again B to C time consumed is 1 hour. However, distances are different, that is 12 and 5. So it is saying that calculate average speed. So remember that average speed is what? That is total distance divided by total time taken. So this will be equal to 12 plus 5 kilometer upon 1 plus 1, that is 2 hour. So it will be 17 by 2, that is approx 8.5 kilometer per hour. So this is our average speed or speed. If we talk about velocity, then we know that velocity is given by total displacement upon time, and displacement is nothing but distance from initial position to final position. Here we know that our initial position is A and final is C. So this is 12, this is 5. By Pythagoras we can calculate this hypotenuse, that is perpendicular square plus base square, or you can say that 12 square plus 5 square, and it will be equal to 144 plus 25, that is 169, and under root of this will be 13. So displacement is 13 kilometer, and divided by time will be, time is same because the actual time doesn't depends on frame, so it will be 6.5 kilometer per hour. So we have taken one more illustration to understand the concept of distance, average speed, you can say. So here it is saying that a car travels the first third of a distance at a speed of 10 km per hour, the second third of 20 km per hour, and the last third distance is traveled by the car at 60 km per hour. It is saying that find the average speed. So basically it is saying that suppose from one point to another point your car is moving, then we have three parts of a distance. Suppose this is 1/3, second 1/3, and last 1/3. It is saying that for first 1/3 it is moving for a distance of 10 km per hour, then it is moving at a speed of 20 km per hour, then it is moving at a speed of 60 km per hour for last 1/3 distance. So we have to find what will be the average speed. So first thing I will tell you what is the wrong concept or what formula is applied by the student generally. Suppose this is 10 km per hour, this is 20 km per hour. They apply the formula that average speed equal to the first speed plus second speed plus third speed and divided by 3. Then they do it at 10 km per hour, then we have 20, then we have 60, and they add all these three velocities and divide it by 3. Then your answer will come out 60, 20, 80 and 90 by 3, and you can say that 30 km per hour will be your answer. I am telling you this is the wrong concept. We don't have to apply this one, because actually the average speed is nothing but total distance by total time taken. Remember, the total distance is the actual thing, and suppose this is a 1/3 distance, again we have 1/3 distance, again we have 1/3 distance. So we will consider total distance is d, and time taken for the 1/3, first 1/3 will be distance upon time, distance upon speed, that is d by 3 upon the first speed 10. Then again second time will be distance upon speed, then last time will be means time taken from here to here, that will be again d by 3 over 60. Remember, this is the exact formula, that is total distance traveled by the particle upon total time elapsed. From here if you will solve this, you will get this as a fraction. Take LCM, 10 6 jar, 23 jar and 61 jar, and whole upon 1 by 3. This 3 into 60 will go in the numerator part, and 6, 3, 9 and 1, 10. So 18 km per hour will be our correct answer. Okay, this is all for today. In next lecture we will talk about acceleration portion. Okay, thank you. Sai Ram.